Oh. Oh. Wow. How's life going? Nope. Yep. Check Hasan stream for cringe.
A Democratic Party that turns a blind eye to genocide and doesn't want to stop a genocide. What makes you think that party is going to preserve democracy?
The Palestine People's Conference in Detroit.
Back against Donald Trump. So the government broadly that continues funding this illegal entity that is doing an unlimited death and destruction campaign, a genocide. They're going to do that to you too.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it every single day. We see it with like the church shooting that took place.
Yep. Yeah.
Americans care about white children, right? Like this is a white supremacist country, a country that,
if we did, wouldn't we be doing way more for Ukraine?
It's white babies to be slaughtered is going to, of course, continue allowing children in Gaza to be slaughtered, and we have to, in order to change that dynamic here, in order to make the change that we need to see here to improve our lives here, we have to start with an issue of so much consequence that virtually virtually the majority of Western nation populations can see right from wrong on.
Right. We already won the public opinion.
Yeah.
We won that battle. As you mentioned, the white supremacy of Israel is the epitome of what America's white supremacy wants and continues to hold.
Yeah.
And that's the correlation, is that Israel is the white supremacy that all of these Western countries, from colonialism to imperialism, they want to continue to uphold. And by us breaking the siege, by us being pro-Palestine, by us continuing to fight along these class struggles, the resistance is something they can never kill. One thing for sure that we can promise everybody here is that Donald Trump, Bibi Netanyahu, these people will never see what they hope to see, which is the killing of Gaza completely.
Yeah.
The resistance movement, they will never see it in their lifetimes.
Yeah.
And that's what they have failed to realize, that we, the people, will never ever stop fighting until we see everybody free, from political prisoners to the 10,000 Palestinian children that's locked up, to the Congo, to Sudan, to Syria, to Lebanese, to Cuba, all of these different countries that are facing the same type of apartheid or oppression or blockades. We will rise above that. And that's what I'm glad to be in company with you. Since I met you, 5 years ago now, always been on the right side, and we just have to continue to use our platforms. As I mentioned, we all have roles to play.
I like how every time Hasan goes out to talk about this, he has to wear a shirt with some fucking Arabic on.
The breakthrough guys.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, shit.
I'll be out there next
All
week,
right.
man. No
Thank
doubt,
you.
brother.
Did he like just add all this shit to his wardrobe? Holy
Hey, what's
fucking
going on?
cringe.
Not much.
Is this a good area to do it?
It's a pretty, I mean, it's the best one. We were like scoping earlier and it's kind
Let me
of
get my
crazy.
selfie with you.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Got you, bro. See you later, bro.
Peace.
Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate it. I don't know how much time you have. I bet you have limited
We have time.
It's the
Okay,
place
cool.
we're going is 25 minutes back.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. So I'll keep it
So
short.
we're good.
I'll keep it short. I'm really interested in, I have a lot of things I'm particularly interested in, but let me know if we're ready, when we're ready. Cool, but yeah, no, you gave a great speech earlier.
Oh, thank you.
It's really exciting, I think, to hear the kind of optimism right now.
Yeah.
You know? People are in this moment where it's that kind of feeling of like, where do we go from here? And when you have this optimism, you have people saying continue to fight, it really just keeps people moving. And I like that, so it's really great.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Are we rolling right now? Hold on one second, because Dr. Abdul Al Sayed is calling me right now. I'm gonna be linking up with him in a second. Hey, I'm live right now, but we're gonna be heading over there in a second. Hello?
I'm literally at Dick's.
Okay.
What size shoe do you wear? I'll get you something.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
perfect.
shoes,
Okay,
fashion.
I'm 13. Anything? I mean, you don't have to get it. I can.
New
I can go
shoes.
there on my own.
That's fine. I got you.
Okay, well, I got other gear, like, but as long as it's like a basketball shoe or something, like, then I'm good. I just have slippers on. Yeah, I got clothes. Yeah.
And Chloe's getting close too.
Shoes.
Yeah. I'm a size 13.
I'm sorry, it's funny because I just tweeted like 39 seconds ago, Palestine is just fashion for leftists. There's a good comment in chat.
Got Democrat.
Oh my
Democrat
God.
Senate hopeful Dr. Abdullah Sayed buying me gym shoes right now.
It's a wild trip. Well, either way, Hasan, I'm really glad that you've got time to chat with me for a bit. I mean,
Of course.
my main question that I have for you is about the perspective of where we are and kind of where we go. I mean, to speak a little bit to what you were saying earlier, you had thousands of people, thunderous applause for your message of continue to fight. So if you could tell our audience or people that are watching, what is that message? Where do we take it from here? And how do we find that spirit inside, you know?
I think when you see children getting slaughtered every single day by an unaccountable criminal enterprise, Israel,
Thanks for specifying.
sometimes it's easy to feel discouraged, and and you want to lean into nihilism, to feel powerless. But I like to always say that we're doing it for all of the people that have been martyred so far, and we're doing it for those who are still surviving every single day in Palestine, in Gaza, and that. I think about all of the worst scumbags on the planet that would benefit from our silence, that want us to be discouraged, that want us to feel.
It feels like the part in a movie where like the fakest dude, and you know that he's like a full of shit, like goes out to pretend in front of the cameras. Like it's so. How do people not cringe to death watching this?
Motivator in this process. So I try to tell people, like, look, if you can't find revolutionary optimism within you, you have to keep going out of pure spite.
That's so real. And I think revolutionary optimism is such an important term to hold on to in these moments. I'm really curious, you know, thinking about your platform as a streamer, the new landscape of media. You know, there's kind of this period where journalism, there's legacy media, and they've been lying very significantly.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of this new wave of independent journalism. And there's also people like you, kind of that are coming up as streamers in kind of more entertainment spaces, but moving into using your platform for your politics. What advice do you have for people that are thinking to do the same, or for activists who are asking that question of how do I reach people? I think you've been able to reach people in such an approachable way, and I think a lot of people would love to get a sense of, pick your brain a little bit on how you do that and how you approach your content.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had an empathy first politics, and that's what guides me. That's what motivates me. And I recognize that, I mean, everything is political, and therefore it's a part of my it's a part of my worldview, but it's also a part of like everything that I basically do. But I also try to do it in as palatable way as possible, to be as approachable as possible. And I always tell my audience, at least, like my community, to be normal.
Yeah.
Because like the atrocities that you see, not everyone is as clued in on. So that's something to always remind yourself. And it's understandable to feel frustrated when you approach someone and they're just so oblivious to everything that you've seen. But everybody starts off somewhere, and it's something that I try to remind people, where it's like, you didn't know a lot about this before October 7. Many of you were completely oblivious to this. So like, if I had taken that approach, if I was just as angry as you are right now talking to someone after 23 months of unlimited child holocaust that's like live streamed.
God, what
it's
a
understandable.
great day. It's just a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be alive, everybody, okay?
If I were to approach the subject matter that way, then I'd be shutting off a lot of people from going on their own personal journey of learning and recognizing right from wrong. So I think that's something that it's difficult, and it's emotional labor, but it's just something that you have to take on if you truly want to organize, if you truly want to bring more people into this movement.
Absolutely, you got to meet people where they are. There's no other way. So my last quick question for you just is, from your perspective, what do you think from this conference the main takeaway is? You know, we're years into this genocide, there's a famine going on, but yet thousands of people have still come here to ask that question of how do we keep building our movements? What do you think the main takeaway for you from this conference is and this gathering?
we just got to keep pushing, no matter what. That's just it. That's it. We have to keep pushing. We have to keep applying pressure, direct action, mobilization, awareness campaigns. But even awareness campaigns are obviously not enough. We just have to keep putting bodies out there, bodies on the line, and make ourselves undeniable, an undeniable force for good. And we have to forcibly make the American government recalculate the cost of its allegiance to the state of Israel. And I think every bit helps. I get very frustrated with politicians that I know, politicians that have been influential for me personally, and their inability to say the truth about what Israel's doing, like calling it a genocide. And it's important that they do that. And it's important that they understand that what they're doing is actually still harmful. But ultimately, I try to stay away from, I basically look at that calculation as grading them on a curve, where I adjust my expectations to the rest of Congress usually, and I try to push movable people to the best of my ability. It's always good to get Bernie Sanders to go further and say the truth, but it's also equally important, if not even more important, to get more senators and more congresspersons out there to communicate on this issue.
He's so cringe. Okay, I'm done. All right, where are we? I'll do course names last. CDC Director Susan Menarez fired by Trump admin after refusing to resign, citing reckless directives. Menarez's lawyers said she refused to rubber stamp unscientific reckless directives. The White House responded that she was not aligned with the president's goals. She was resisting being ousted by the nation's top health official, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., for political reasons after about a month in office, when the CDC director, Susan Menarez, refused to rubber stamp unscientific reckless directives and fire dedicated health experts. She chose protecting the public over serving a political agenda. Does it say in here what she was trying to... I don't think you can refresh. It's just... It should just be here. She's trying to block, guys, the discovery of autism. Okay. Resignations. Why was she fired?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First on...
Is Hasan cringe for saying that we should get senators to reconsider our alliance with Israel, given they're dragging us into World War III by the day with this conflict? Stop by... maybe actually you might be a Muslim fucking radical terrorist guy. I don't know. People do not want us to stop working with Israel. People like Hasan want the destruction of Israel as a Jewish majority state. That's what they want. If you don't understand that, go read more. If you're saying opposite after reading more, you're a liar / propagandist. If you do understand that, then at least wear that opinion on your sleeve and say that we should do regime change in Israel or force that state to give up the immigration policy that it has. That's the thing that anybody on Hasan's side is advocating for.
Carolyn, thank you so much. First on the firing of the CDC director. First, who will replace her? And then also, overnight the White House said that she did not align with the president's agenda. Dr. Menarez's attorneys say that she refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated health experts. What specifically did she do wrong?
Look, what I will say about this individual is that her lawyer's statement made it abundantly clear themselves that she was not aligned with the president's mission to make America healthy again. And the secretary asked her to resign. She said she would, and then she said she wouldn't, so the president fired her, which he has every right to do. It was President Trump who was overwhelmingly reelected.
Remember, when it comes to Republicans, it's about what do you have the legal right to do. It's all about process and procedure. When it comes to Democrats, it's what ought you do. What's the moral thing to do? When it comes to Republicans, it's, well, what are they allowed to do? Always, always, always.
November 5th, this woman...
Like, nobody is asking you, hey, does Trump have the legal right to fire people in the CDC? That was never the question, right? But of course, that's going to be the response.
On November 5th, this woman has never received a vote in her life, and the president has the authority.
Destiny, okay, so it's not cringe to say we should stop being cool with Israel. You just think I'm saying it is a euphemism for wipe Israel off the map. Thanks for clarifying. Nobody, if you want to stop being cool with Israel, you don't want to stop being cool with Israel, though. You won't like where that goes, and you'll want to intervene. If we stop being cool with Israel, Israel has no tether to the West, and Israel doesn't give a fuck about the United States' opinion, then Israel probably would act in a far more aggressive manner with some of its neighbors. It would probably actually expel every single fucking Palestinian from the Gaza Strip if they could find a place to put them. And then at that point, you would be calling for a regime change in Israel. You'd say, well, we need to go invade Israel. We need to get rid of the government. And we need to protect the Palestinians. You wouldn't be happy where that goes next. Guaranteed.
To fire those who are not aligned with his mission. A new replacement will be announced by either the president or the secretary very soon. And the president and Secretary Kennedy are committed to restoring trust and transparency and credibility to the CDC by ensuring their leadership and their decisions are more public-facing, more accountable, strengthening our public health system, and restoring it to its core mission of protecting Americans from communicable diseases, investing in innovation to prevent, detect, and respond to future threats. That's the mission of the CDC, and we're going to make sure that folks that are in positions of leadership there are aligned with that mission.
Good one. Cunt. I'm still grumpy from this morning. Stop. No more posting like that in my chat unless we have proof, okay? Because there's a special type of pain. You guys aren't going to understand this unless you're, I guess, a New Englander or Midwesterner. But where's the guy? Hold on. There's this feeling of, it starts to snow 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, around 8, 9, 10 o'clock, you look outside and it's starting to stick. It's not melting. You see it start to pile. And then you see on the news channels the weather alerts for tomorrow. You throw your book bag on the ground. You don't even unzip it. You hop on to MSN, AOL, Xbox Live. For the first Xbox, if you have it, you start gaming all fucking night. Mom and dad tell you, go to bed. You don't know if it's going to be a snow day tomorrow, but you know it in your heart. You know it's going to be a snow day tomorrow. And you finally go to sleep at like 3 or 4 a.m., you crawl out of bed at 7. You don't even get dressed like as a kid, so you're wearing pajamas, not naked. Perverts, okay? You go downstairs, you sit on the couch, and you watch on the bottom. You wait for that Chiron to scroll the names of schools canceling, and it doesn't happen. And minute by minute by minute ticks by, and you're staring at the TV, and then mom is like, you need to get ready for school. And it's like, Mom, it's got to be a snow day. You look outside. It's like 3 inches of snow on the ground. It's not enough. And you know it's not enough, but it's still snowing. And it's just the worst. It's the worst feeling. That is the worst day of school. It's the worst day of school. It's the worst day. This meme isn't actually correct here because he's like, I think he's crying in happiness or like memory, but whatever. You know what I mean? It's the worst feeling. Oh my God. What a horrible feeling. And then you have to go into school that day, and it's just, Oh shit! Actually, never mind. You guys might just do Zoom classes today. I don't know if you have snow days anymore. Fuck me. Have you guys ever
Snow
seen?
days.
What is this?
There is no greater human joy than waking up to a winter wonderland that, with its frosty magic, also canceled school. Well, no more, because schools are canceling snow days. Some school systems have decided distance learning has worked so well, might as well keep those.
Hello?
Oh, hey, it's Reason Riffs.
Yeah, I can tell by the annoying fucking Euro voice. What's up?
Oh, come on, it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Wait, do you guys have? Wait, what? Are you from Germany?
Okay, I'm from the UK originally.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm not that bad. I'm halfway to America, right?
You know what's really weird? I'm saying this to your biker. I don't know if you know this or not. Americans don't ride bikes in the winter. We don't think it's possible. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen them. Maybe it's Canadians that are crazy enough to do it. I'm sure I've seen videos of some of you guys. Right?
Well, in Scandinavia, apparently it's really common. Like in Copenhagen and up in, I guess they're like Sweden and shit. People ride their bikes year round. And I don't know if I said a comment to Melina or something, and I ended up looking at YouTube videos, and I was like, yeah, apparently it's all, in America, we just don't think that you can ride bicycles in the wintertime, but everybody else is apparently able to do it. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my father doesn't even drive a car. He was cycling to work every day of his working life, and it was through the snow and stuff. So, I mean, I was brought up in a bit of a crazy family in that regards. But a lot of people don't even ride bikes in the warmer weather. So,
okay. You were from the UK though, right? When did you guys get cars? It was like 80s, 90s. So, I mean, depending on your age.
No, most people are still using horse and cart. You know, there's pack donkeys and stuff. No.
That's for all that. I'm just kidding. Anyway, yeah. What's up? How's it going?
Yeah.
You rode around for a bit, right?
Yeah. I was away for like 3 weeks in total. So part of the ride I made into this fundraiser. And firstly, I'm really appreciative to the DGGers who donated. In fact, the donations are still open until the beginning of next week if anyone else wants to donate. So it turned out to be 4 days to Rotterdam.
Wait, can you, let's assume that we don't know who you are, world famous Reason Riffs. Where do people donate at?
Okay, that's a point. Maybe if I send you the link,
Yeah.
Then that will be an easy way to do it. Sorry, I'm a bit of a boomer. 1 moment. Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
Cool. So, so I mean, I've done fundraisers before. Actually, I've done, if it means anything to anyone, I've fundraised for hospitals in Palestine before. And actually, I went to look at the charities at the moment, and it's just so many charities are compromised by Hamas. They don't intend it, but they get messed around. This stuff doesn't get to the people that need it. So I realized it wasn't really worth fundraising for Palestine this time. And at the same time, I mean, what's going on in Ukraine is just horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to Ukraine by bike. So I've done a lot of like world cycling, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's been quite hurtful to see what's happened, and people put it into statistics and, you know, this historical nonsense in terms of who owns what and justifying it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was an important thing to do. So I've raised money for a charity called United 24, the charity that's linked with the Ukrainian government. They've been vetted a few times in terms of how they spend their money, and they look really, really good. And a lot of the projects are about homemade stuff that's made within Ukraine and Ukrainian factories. So it's from mine clearance to air defense to ambulances.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a really good charity to donate, to get fundraised for. So I rode from Halle, it's near to Leipzig in East Germany, to Rotterdam. And I did just over 160 kilometers a day for 4 days in the end.
Okay.
And with headwinds every day, which, it's the way it goes.
Does that matter when you ride a bike?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean,
Okay.
okay, you're into science. You've got a good feeling for it. I remember this from our previous.
Yeah, I know that like when the
conversations.
wind blows against you, it slows you down. I'm aware of that. Yeah. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's geometric, right? So if you go to, it's a bit like you remember the inverse square law, right? It's a similar thing with wind resistance. So you go twice as fast, but it's 4 times the amount of power you need to negate the wind resistance at that point.
Okay.
So it's a lot of similarities in regards to this. So, with running, it's not like that because it's not such a small difference. Like in speed, relative speed with the wind. Like wind resistance isn't a big factor when it comes to running. So, with cycling, you check the wind. It's especially if you can change when you ride. You check when the wind's heaviest, like it's at the beginning of the day, end of the day, and you make the most of that time. It's a bit like a sailing boat, I guess, in some ways as well.
So have you ever played the game Valheim?
I had a housemate that played that. I
don't know why, but I learned it for this stupid fucking game because they tried to do realistic wind mechanics or whatever dumb shit. But apparently, the wind at your sails or whatever, the wind behind you is like one of the worst ways to have the wind in terms of going fast. I don't know if it's the same with bikes, but apparently with ships, like having the wind coming at you is at like a 90-degree angle allows you to, the way that you angle your sails and cut against it. I don't remember the explanation, but that allows you to move quicker going forward than if it was just blowing behind you. I don't remember why or how. Does that make sense what I'm saying there? Or
well, I'm not a sailor, so and maybe it's something to do with instability in the boat. I'm not too sure for boating. But for cycling, that's not the case. Actually, when it's on your back, it's a good feeling. Because then, for example, on the way back, I was averaging long stretches for like 35k an hour. And I mean, I had my work laptop. I had to do some home office when I was away. And I had my tent. So you saw some of the pictures of I was doing this. I wasn't staying in hotels every night, but I did when I got to Rotterdam. So I had to carry all my stuff and my food and that kind of thing. So it's not just like going on my racing bike.
Yeah.
But when the wind's on my back, it's a really beautiful feeling.
Well, that's cool.
Because then you fly. So after that, I went to the UK. I went back to my parents because from Rotterdam I could get the boat. And then I cycled a bit of a longer way back. So over some of the kind of lowish mountains, so like up to 1,000 meters, but the roads go up to like 500, 600 meters. And yeah, that's kind of where I've been over the summer, and it's the first longish trip I've done for a few years. So yeah, I was kind of out of the loop, and then Kafka kind of updated me on the goings on and the mudslinging and
me being a pedophile and everything now based. Retroactively a pedophile, I guess technically, but yeah,
Well. It's such a smear. I mean, it's no fun and games, right? I mean, it can cause people can get death threats and stuff from stuff like that.
Yeah,
I just don't
maybe,
understand. Yeah. From a guy who pertains to be, to have had, his personal life affected, you'd think he would be a little bit more careful. I'm talking about Ethan here.
One of the things that just sucks so much about the online space, and I've said this a lot, and I hate that I guess it took me a long time in life to realize this. No, I don't hate it because it's been a fun ride along the way. But the pressures that exist in online friendships, I've even talked about these in the past, but I just didn't realize how crazy they were compared to just ordinary people. Like, it sounds so weird, but like when I'm talking to like a normal human being, I don't even have to think about, okay, like I need to be careful what I say to this person because I know they're friend groups with this person. And if this person makes a video and a thing that this person leaks about this here, then it's gonna I don't like with normal people. I just like think about. I just like have conversations with people and talk to people and share stuff. And I don't have to worry about like YouTube videos showing up of like log leaks because they're just like ordinary ass fucking people. And then like the primary would be them getting mad at me. The secondary is like videos, and the tertiary stuff is all of the who's going to pressure them for what thing. Like these dynamics just don't exist with ordinary human beings in real life. It's so cancerous and toxic for online relationships that like, not to make excuses. Like I think obviously I would say Ethan made a mistake. I think we've all course corrected now, which is good. But yeah, it's so annoying and horrible and atrocious online. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the lack of trust, and also in the meantime, it's just destroying our side of politics. It's preventing the discussion. It's making us look petty. It's losing trust in individuals. So now everyone's got some loss of respect from certain people, And in the meantime, on the right, there's that unified stance, right? And because Ethan, he may not be like say he's a political streamer, but he has streamed about politics, right? Political issues. It's kind of hard not to. So if he wants to be taken seriously on any of his points, or to be frank, as a thoughtful human being, which I know he can be, then perhaps he needs to try and be the thoughtful human being that we know he can be, and we've seen before. But we all make mistakes. So to be fair to Ethan, like if things calm down and he changes course, and personally I would still pay attention to him. But yeah, I feel bad for you. I know you say it doesn't get to you, but you're a human being, and I probably project a bit sometimes when I try and ask how people are and say, I can understand that, but I don't know if I can understand that that level of smearing. And of course, because you're known, that's a lot of people coming at you at once with false allegations and the Chinese whispers that go on. We've all seen it. And
wait, the Chinese whispers?
Yeah, like one person hears one thing, and then they make it into something bigger, and then they make it into something bigger. Ethan was doing that live, right?
I'm sorry, that's got to be like a non-English expression or something. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Okay, it doesn't sound very.
And I think we call it a game of telephone or whatever. But I know what you mean. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what you guys call it. We've got the non-PC version, I guess, to call it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. This game
Chinese whispers. I'm sorry, that's all good. All right, sorry, my bad. It's I think the most annoying part about all of it, and I feel this, I've said this a lot, I'll continue to say this, I don't know how long you've watched my content for, but 9 years ago, the thing was people were saying like real life is not like Twitter, right? The online world is not the real world, touch grass, but we've fully smashed those two worlds together such that, and I say this and it's not a joke, like you analyze Trump as like an influencer and it gives you a better insight into how the political scene is developing across the world as opposed to trying to analyze things like normal politics. And one like shared thing that's happening now, like on the conservative side, the goal is to have the best story, and that's it. That's the only thing that matters. And there's little to no regard for the fact, or more so like how at least can we make the facts like work for our story such that can we ignore some, can we ignore some or whatever. And then you're in this world where you're basically just kind of arguing over like every political fight is who would win, like Vegeta or Gogeta, and that's it. They're not even like real things. So like when I watch like the thing that bothered me the most about Ethan making that video is I don't think that Ethan thinks I'm a pedophile. I don't think that's the case. Especially with everything that came out for his background. There's no way that he thinks that. I don't think he's a pedophile, right? So it's just when people want to stand, or same thing with all of these, like the fat Oreo guy or Queefman or Justical Soon to be Murdered by Cherry, like all these people, when they say this, like, I don't think they actually believe any of it. It's all just like a fight, a battle of the narratives and stories. It's like, this feels so fucking stupid. Or it's just so not what I signed up for. Like I have significantly less interest in that than like yesterday, like going through like Form 990Fs and figuring out like how tax structures work to see if this, dark money company is funding something. Like these things are just more fun for me. Yeah. So that's the fakeness of it all is I think the thing that annoys me the most. And the fact that I don't know if viewers or like observers are aware of how fake it all is. I don't know if you were watching my stream earlier when I was looking at Hasan talking to that lady about Palestine and everything. That guy talks about Palestine every fucking day. Hold on. Quiz. Are you ready? Do you care at all about Israel, Palestine?
Yeah, we should do.
Okay, I'm gonna quiz you a little bit. One quiz question, okay? Don't feel bad if you don't know. Okay, I'm just curious. Do you know what the Western Wall is, or the Wailing Wall is?
It's one of the most sacred places for Jewish people to go and pray.
Do you know why it's sacred?
Because the wall cries. I don't know the full details of stuff.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, close. Okay, that's all good. That's the I believe, according to Jews, that's supposed to be the remnants of the last remaining remnants of the Second Temple. It was like a wall inside of the temple, supposedly. Now, Muslims deny this. I watched Ethan watch it again, and then I was watching like a week ago. Hasan didn't know anything about the Western Wall. He had no idea what it was. And that is impossible to me. For this guy to have been obsessing over Israel-Palestine for at least the last 2 years, to not know what that is the equivalent of me, being a German history buff and not knowing the country was divided after World War II, or not knowing what Berlin is, or not knowing that like Link is the name of the main character in Zelda and it's not Zelda. Like, it's just an unbelievable thing. So yeah, sorry, I just rambled over time, but yeah, I hate the fakeness of it all. It feels so stupid to me.
I mean, okay, I'm defending myself here, but even if you don't know the exact history, you know that is seriously sacred to a lot of people. And
Sure.
It's not about rationalizing.
Well, also, hold on, just real quick. I wasn't attacking you. The fact that I don't think that you profess to be like a fucking expert on Israel-Palestine, but Hasan professes to be an expert on it. It's the only thing he's done for his content for like the past like several months, and he's obsessed with it for 2 years. It was crazy we didn't know that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
But I think to be fair, even to be fair to Hasan and to your point, like, I have quite strong opinions on it, but there are some holes in my knowledge there.
Sure.
And so you should then kind of temper your opinion and say, oh, okay, well, if there's some holes in my knowledge, I should have a little bit more self-doubt than Hasan clearly does. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I got banned from his chat one time. Because I was spamming his chat with evidence, mainly from Amnesty International, about how Hamas treats Palestinians. Because this is the key point here. It's not just about, of course, how Hamas treats Israelis, and especially of October the 7th. That was just crazy and unimaginable. But it's also the history of how Hamas has treated, especially the opposition. The opposition are in prison mostly.
Maybe, or they just get killed.
Well, I'm just referring to what Amnesty International has, and I respect it. And so I was copying and pasting this into his chat, and then I'm really terrible with names, but I had the name to hand when he actually started. You know how he does this? He brought the chat window up with what I was saying to him.
Ooh, and you got spotlighted.
Yeah, but I thought, cool. I said to him afterwards, towards the end of our conversation, if you want to call it that I respected him for replying to me, right? And the first thing he said to me, he clearly got a message from the mods. He says, "Oh no, don't ban him. Let's basically have this conversation." So he gained a little bit of my respect when he did this. And I was like saying that there are other Palestinians you could look at for Palestinian leadership other than Hamas. Why is it that you defend Hamas as the kind of the defenders? Like, yeah, but who? And then there was one guy that was quite an interesting figure among Palestinians. He was imprisoned by the Israelis. It's kind of grey and questionable as to why and the details of his case.
You're talking about Barghouti, right?
That's right. Yeah. And so I'm just saying that at least there are other alternatives. It's a bit ambiguous as to who you should support as leading the Palestinians, as the kind of Mandela figure we would want for the Palestinians, right? Because it doesn't exist now. And he seemed really pissed off that that I had actually found an answer to the question that he thought was unanswerable. And then made the point, like, I've raised money for Palestine. It's not something, Palestine, for Palestinian hospitals. And then I said, how much have you done? And that was when he got banned from Twitch shortly after this. When he started making threats against some politician, right, like death threats.
Mike,
and then he got banned.
Fuck, who was it? I know. Yeah, I remember. It was when he quote tweeted with the gun that killed Shinzo Abe or whatever, right?
Yeah, and 20 minutes later, he went on this rant. So he stayed raged from this conversation.
Yeah.
Then he permabanned me from his channel. And that actually motivated me to be honest, to watch you a little bit more and saying, right, I need to. Like you've emphasized, I was in like social media, the precursor to this, like the Yahoo chat days, right? Like at the end of the 90s, 2000s, I was a proper geek, playing the first proper online games, all that kind of stuff. And I got really into that kind of thing. And then I completely left it for 10, 15 years. I didn't even have a proper phone until a few years ago. But like you've emphasized, and it's so important, and I think we just can't ignore this now, even though it's not the nicest, greatest thing. Like, social media is the kernel of a lot of social discourse and a lot of political discourse.
Yeah.
And
one of the things,
we have to work with it.
One of the things I've said this for years now, going through the Red Pill space as well, because nobody wants to talk about this because it's not partisan, but the internet has like severely changed the way that we communicate with everybody on the planet and the way that we live our lives in ways that are just so hard to quantify, but like so dramatic in terms of reaching into every single part of our life. But it's like you can't like sell feminism or Red Pill or you can't sell it on that because everybody has something to gain and everybody has something to lose when it comes to internet related stuff. So nobody really talks about it that much. I guess except some psychologists,
You kind of have to. It's a bit like a game of chess, right? You have to think a few moves ahead as to what the position that you're going to find yourself in, and try and push in that direction. And also the people that you're trying to appeal to, you may have to try and appeal in ways that it's not directly giving the argument all the time, but it's kind of there's the emotive side of it as well.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning and trying to get back in there to some extent. And it's also interesting to see how you've morphed over time. And I noticed the other day when you were looking at your old self, I don't like to hear my younger voice. And that's the other crazy thing about your situation. Like so much of your life is just stuck on a timeline. So many words said. And it's like the idea that anything could be misconstrued from 10, 15 years ago. That's so much pressure, and that needs to be respected especially from normies like myself or offline people, if we want to call us. That is such a spotlight, and it's something I think it needs to be respected. That because we've all said things that it wasn't said in the best way or could easily be clipped in the wrong way, and it's people forget that and then become hypocrites, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But again, it comes down to what are the purposes when people are saying things? What do you even want to get out of some piece of communication? I brought up that Brian Beard brings up that Mia Rose thing, and then Ethan brings it up, and this is horrible. It's okay, well, if you go back, I think it was a bad thing. I think I said it was a bad thing, and then I've apologized and talked to Mia. We're cool. What else am I possibly supposed to do about this event that happened 14 years ago? What is the purpose of bringing it up over and over again? But everything is just driven to effect some end, and your facts and all these are checkers or chess pieces that are in service to the game, and they're not actually that important in and of themselves. They can morph and change to whatever suits whatever narrative, and it's just very boring, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a question of being boring or not. It's I mean, it needs that kind of analysis and understanding of how people respond, and I mean, it's going forward. Everyone just needs to be a little bit conscious of how things can be construed later on. It makes us, I guess, all of us a little bit paranoid because you never know what position you may be in the future.
Maybe. Actually, I disagree with this. I've actually moved a little bit off of this position now. When I look at a lot of these things now, I had to reframe a lot when I was looking at Aaron fighting with Pisco yesterday. I think that the analysis, because people have the capacity to understand these things, and people will understand these things. I think that you just have to shift people into stop just being a hater, or stop being so intentionally malevolent or bad faith with your analyses on things. I did a formal yesterday morning. I said I was moving past Ethan stuff, so I'm not trying to drag on him or anything. But it was very interesting seeing all of the people, because I watched his subreddit initially. I think the responses in the very beginning when he made the piece on me, I think were good, but I think it's because my community was heavily involved. Then I think his community woke up more, plus AB was moderating for his life, banning every pro-Destiny person in that sub. Then Ethan made his longer video of me, and then the sub got harshly against me. And all the comments were basically more along the lines of and I think even Ethan himself said in one video, normal people don't make jokes like this, or these comments are horrible. Why would anybody ever say this? And then obviously when I did my response after digging for some, I'm okay, well, if that's the standard, you said some wild stuff. And then, but then instead of the community being okay, maybe we should apply an even standard or what's going on, I saw so many people who are well, these are edgy jokes from a long time ago. These don't represent who you are now. The internet used to be a really edgy place. And these are things that I say. So it's the thoughts are in the head. They know these things. It's the political stuff that brings it out sometimes, Have you ever heard of DNA isn't really the master of anything? It's really the RNA, right? Transcription factors and how stuff gets read. Everybody has the DNA in there. It's just a matter of what's getting transcribed at any point in time. What part of you are you actually activating? It's not you lack it or you have to learn it. You just have to deploy it at the appropriate times.
I mean, it's in a sense, and people don't want to admit this, and we all can do this, but it's the emotive part of not the way we think, but the way we decide and conclude things overriding us. I mean, of course, there's a sense of loyalty going on here as well. There's these, tribes, these communities, and people want that their community and their tribe is just and fair. Mm-hmm. But the funny thing was, I found a lot of people, they seem to I don't know if it was intentional. It must have been intentional, but misunderstanding your point. Your point was bringing up these edgy jokes and saying, look, Ethan made these edgy jokes, but that doesn't mean to say that he's a pedophile, right? That was the kind of key point that you
kind
were
of, yeah.
making.
Although
And
again, I would. This is why I'm saying I backed off that point, especially because Ethan's community proves to me so strongly. There were a lot of people in his community, although maybe my community was upvoting, who were saying like, "Well, hold on, I don't think Destiny is trying to attack Ethan for this. Destiny's just saying, hey, I think that you know, if we're going to go digging through edgy jokes, like both of us could play this game. Edgy jokes are like, I think a lot of people understood that in his community. I think a ton. And I think anybody that looks at it at first glance will understand immediately what's going on, especially because I was careful when I phrased those tweets. Like people think that when I added the thing, because I edited the tweet to be even more extreme, saying that Ela was like a genocidal night raider or whatever. And people were like, oh my God, he's going even harder. It wasn't really necessarily that I was going harder. Like I was going harder, but I was making it even more clear that like, okay, well, this is just going to be a satire basically of all of the crazy unhinged farmer stalker shit that gets thrown at you. Like surely you see the link. And actually I think most of the people in the sub got that like basically immediately, because I saw that popping up a ton, you know. But people pretend that like they couldn't understand. And even my community gets lost, like, oh, people won't understand the satire. They do. They know exactly what's going on. When I make fun of the dead fucking kids in Texas, or when I make fun of the guy getting shot at the Trump ally, like people, the problem is the other side virtue signals over it, but then our side, I don't even mean the left versus right, but like my community sometimes will fall for it. We're like, oh no, like you don't understand the optics. No. They're making you buy into their optics. They know what's going on. They don't give a fuck, right? It's the same thing that's happening right now with Gavin Newsom and the Twitter account, where all the conservatives are like, I can't believe he would dare tweet like this. Like this is unbecoming of an adult male. And it's like, oh, okay, you know what's going on, right?
I think it might be true of some of you know, people that watch H3, but when it comes to the right on politics, a lot of people really lack a sense of humor. And some of the points you're making through humor, right? Like this dramatic irony. Like the whole thing about you know, if they had VPN, I thought it was a hilarious tweet. But then clearly people were like, I think Piers Morgan as well. I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally. I'm sure he's got a sense of humor, but that made me doubt it, because I think they seem pretty sincere, but they must be A+ actors.
If you're an American, you've been probably.
I think a lot of.
Sorry.
You know, and on the right, I do doubt people's ability to have a sense of humor, which means they don't see your irony sometimes. But I don't know about the Ethan crowd. I assume that they've got a bit more of a sense of humor and they can understand, you know, that you're making an ironic comment, and you of course you exaggerate and make it extreme to make a point that is a joke, right? But with something serious behind it. But I mean, do you think basically this is all part of cancel culture, right? And this way of just making things very black and white and extreme. But do you think it's getting worse or better or changing over time, or do you think people are maturing in terms of understanding these narratives?
I think it's getting. Well, cancel culture is an interesting phrase, because cancel culture implies stuff that's revolving around like social justice warrior or woke issues. I understand what you're saying, but I wouldn't use the term cancel culture to describe what the right does today, although it is cancel culture. But I just wouldn't use it because it's got such a heavy political bend. But that type of like black and white parsing of reality is I don't know. My current mind state means that I necessarily have to believe that things in the long term are trending better. So hopefully it is getting better in the long term. Maybe we have a bit of a road bump right now, or a speed bump right now, or bumpy road or whatever, and then eventually it'll improve. Yeah, I think it sounds like a tit for tat, and you know what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong for tit for tat. We just have to start doing it to them a lot more and a lot more blatantly until people realize, like, oh shit, this feels bad. Like, I'm joking about it a little bit, but I'm also being very serious when I point out, like, Asmongold saying I can't make this joke because Destiny's gonna rail me for it. That is a good thing. That's an effective thing. It's important to see people say stuff like that. And I think that we don't say maybe no, we do with Gavin Newsom's account. I don't know. I'd have to go through and check. I think Trump actually stopped spamming caps because so many people have started talking about Gavin Newsom, and they're like, oh, Gavin Newsom's crazy. Why is he doing this? Whatever. I think Trump no longer uses caps lock on his truths, that's an improvement, right? And I think that when you engage in that a little bit more, like this is very much like I would say this is kind of bad parenting, depending on how aggressive you get with it. But like when a kid smacks another kid and then you smack the kid, and you're like, it doesn't feel good, right? Like, why would you do this to another kid? Stop doing this. It's not good. You know, when somebody understands, because sometimes people don't maybe understand emotionally like how it feels, or they don't understand what's going on, and then when it happens to them, like, ooh, this is really bad. Okay, fuck it. I don't want this to happen to me anymore. Like, that's how you get people pretty interested in things, I think, yeah.
I mean, I guess we have to be pragmatic with our methodology because, you could have continued to do that with in the Ethan case. And the point you've done here is to do almost the opposite of saying, I'm not going to accelerate this, to emphasize that it's been accelerating. So I think, and I think it's a really sensible strategy. And
one thing I think it's important. One thing I'm trying to do really hard is I'm trying to anchor everything as a response. That's why when I said yesterday, I think the day before, my days are bleeding together so much. But like, listen, if Ethan's done responding, I'm done responding. Okay, I'm good. That's it. But if he continues to respond, like I will say, I'm only doing this because he said this. I'm only doing this because he said this. Like I think anchoring your unhingedness in their initial actions is really important so that it's harder for other people to kind of like pretend that this is coming out of nowhere. And I think a lot of people see it. It's just hard to see the people that see it because they're not usually the ones commenting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to leave some space there, but it's basically like you have to pick and choose a strategy for the moment. But I think it makes sense not to do either single strategy in terms of, being more moderate, stepping back, or being a bit more reflection and tit for tat. I think it really is about reading the moment. Sure. I mean, maybe I've emphasized this before, but in game theory, like tit for tat is one of the most effective strategies.
Yeah.
That's in a simplified model, so we shouldn't lack the complexity of how things work. And it goes back to the black and whiteness thing, which is kind of ironic, right? The strategy itself shouldn't be too black and white. There is nuance sometimes, and there's an opening where you can see, okay, I can build a bridge, we can put things behind us. If you look at conflict resolution, it's part of conflict resolution, right? So we can learn from previous conflicts. And one conflict I point to, maybe it's coming from the UK, but it's what happened in Ireland. And in the end, there was a crazy level of forgiveness, right? There were convicted murderers who were let free as part of the the peace treaty in Northern Ireland, and it worked, right? And in the end, it's about ends. So sometimes strategies involve a lot of forgiveness, and if you ignore that and then just let it escalate and play the tit for tat thing, then it would just go on ad infinitum. So at some point, conflict resolution also requires a level of forgiveness. Hey, maybe one day maybe you and Hasan will be friends again.
Definitely not, but
unlikely. But yeah.
I can be friends with anybody as long as they just have to not lie about me publicly, and they have to acknowledge they've lied about me publicly. That's it. The most likely that would ever happen would be maybe Vosh. Hasan will never be that person because Hasan he's fundamentally a different. I consider Hasan a terrorist. His goals and mine are so far removed from each other that it would require a dramatic life change from him. Yeah.
Because like you emphasized, I've been watching your content for probably about a year at most at this point. But then I've kind of caught up and I've seen some stuff in the history in the past, and it's kind of sad, like how Hasan seemed like a normal, nice human being at one point, and then became this egotistical maniac. Sorry, that's how I see him. He's a terrorist sympathizer. The shortest thing I see in him is just this crazy ego.
Yeah, a little bit. For some reason, I wonder if there's maybe there's a draw to socialism or socialist types, because it does seem exceedingly rare that, well, not rare actually, I guess never, that some socialist utopia can emerge from the revolutionary vanguard state that doesn't wind up in just pure authoritarianism. I feel like, I say this cautiously without having doing much research, but it's one of the reasons why that Che Guevara guy was so cool. Is because he genuinely was committed to the revolution, and that guy would go fight, help people overthrow some country or whatever, and then he would be offered leadership positions or positions in government, and he would just say nah, fuck it, I'm gonna go fight somewhere else now, and he would just do that until he got killed in fucking Venezuela or some shit, South America somewhere. I don't even remember. Yeah, but it seems like it. Yeah, maybe it just draws a certain type of people. Maybe it was Bolivia. Yeah, Bolivia, Venezuela, same shit. South America is all the same to me. Yeah, it just draws a certain type of people, maybe. I don't know.
I'm going to have to kind of push back a little bit on that, because before my trip, I wanted to come on stream and talk about socialism.
Okay.
Partly because of the ambiguities of socialism and the different branches that formed. So, what Hasan seems to be ascribing to is the Marxist definition of socialism, which is actually a Kono boy, as well-intentioned as I think he is or was. We could maybe say no. He was also going towards a a little bit more of an extreme form of socialism, where the ends really are basically full state ownership. And so you have that form, but at the end of the 19th century, you had a guy called, this is going to test my memory, Edward Bernstein. I can pronounce the name, given my German experience. He's one of the founding fathers of the SPD, the left-wing party in Germany, which still has the word socialist in its name. And he was basically a lot more pragmatic. And he said there are no ends here. And we need, he was really a proponent of the mixed economy, where you had private, you had state, you had cooperatives, you had a whole mix of things going on. So it was more of a general idea, socialism, as opposed to this being very staunch, kind of almost like Plato form notion of socialism, where you end as a kind of perfect utopic system. He was a lot more pragmatic.
Yeah, one of the weird things I was saying real fast is that, like, in America, we have a hardcore definition. It used to be the opposite, I feel like, but in America, our definition of socialism for the leftists is like they abolish all capital. And in Europe, broadly, it feels like socialism is actually what like Democrats thought socialism was, or Republicans say it was like 20 years ago, which is like expanded welfare states, basically.
Well, I think that's an evolution, and I think in Europe we're also suffering the same problem. That people are calling themselves socialists, but they also, and sometimes communists, which I find kind of disgusting. When I live in East Germany, my wife's family are had to live under communism, so I have a feeling for what that actually means. Sadly, they don't seem to.
Oh yeah, because you're near Leipzig?
That's right, yeah.
Which is in East Germany. I think I've been there before for a gaming event or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. When we first spoke, you mentioned, I think my housemate's probably at the same event. And if you ever go back, you should go to the Stasi Museum, the secret police museum of Leipzig, or Berlin has one too, and people can see actually how horrific it really was to live under a dictatorship like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think there's an evolution, especially among young left-leaning people who call themselves socialists, that they are going to this almost Marxist form of socialism again, which is ignoring basically 100 years of evolution of the strongest branch of socialism that eventually led to all the left-wing parties in Europe. So I think the evolutionary socialism is the branch of socialism which led to these parties. And even people like Tony Blair would say, oh yeah, I'm of this type of socialism. And he'd call himself socialist until fairly recently. And it referred to that branch of socialism. So it's the same thing with my father. I mean, I was brought up in a household where people would call themselves socialists, but what they meant was this form, as opposed to this Marxist socialism. So, and there's still people out there, I think, probably calling themselves socialists in this regard, or even Econoboy, who thinks it's some kind of platonic form of socialism, but realistically it will never happen. So I think we have to give these people a lot more space, and also include them in our movements. Those types of socialists, and if they want to call themselves socialists, then so be it. It's an incredibly vague term.
Well, the issue that I have, maybe if I was European or in a different space, I would feel differently. The problem that I have, though, is that it's like if I lived in, let's say in Australia, let's say there was like no formal definition, or people weren't really fascist much, and then let's say that there came like a new group and they wanted to advocate for just like a stronger Australia that like took care of its country more, and even expanded the welfare state or whatever else, and wanted to do onshore some more production, and they called themselves like fascists, right? And let's say, I know that Australia, I'm sure, understands fascism, but let's say there wasn't a strong understanding, and people are like, oh, well, fine, we can just call ourselves fascists, like it's okay, like we can take back the word or whatever. I'd say like, okay, fine, whatever, that's okay. But if you started to get infiltrated by a whole bunch of real fascists who were also like, oh yeah, I'm fascist too, I just want this thing, but that under the hood these guys are, they want expulsion of all non-white people, or they've got some ethno-supremacist weird shit going on, then you feel a lot differently about the other people using fascists, especially if the nice fascists are making excuses for or breaking bread with the bad fascists. So like this was my big problem, is that like if in a world full of econo-boys, I don't think I would care if I was allied with people who call themselves socialists like Econo-boy does. But the problem is a whole bunch of ML types, like the Aaron girl, like her trying to sneak in and saying like, oh, I'm like the same thing kind of like as the Econo-boy, and these people are like MLs. And it's like, it feels not good at that point, because now there's like a weird subversive game being played, where I played this game already, and again from 2016 to 2018, where all the centrists were giving cover to the neo-Nazis, and then I would end up looking unhinged because I would push back on somebody who's like a neo-Nazi, but the centrists were like, well, no, actually I think that guy's just being reasonable, and you're actually far left now. It's like, I don't think it's far left to say that just because Japan has all Japanese people means America should have all white. I think I can push back against that without being crazy, and that's basically my big problem, is that socialists by design are subversive. And when you have one of the largest socialist streamers online, the largest, I guess, Hasan, is like on program saying My goal is to be subversive. I am trying to be subversive. I am trying to radicalize people. Yeah, it makes it so like I don't know. Like I said on my screen the other day, like I don't identify as suckdom anymore. I don't even use that term anymore because it's just too weird. There's too much weird shit going on.
Well, I think all isms are a bit like this, and it ends up being, because ultimately being a bit more pragmatic with your politics and looking at what means works towards what ends is really all we should really be caring about. So I'm pretty against isms in that respect, but in terms of people who have labeled themselves and then how I'm going to judge them, I think your comparison, I mean, it's a bit like the swastika, right? The symbol of the Nazis, which of course
symbol of peace.
Mirrored. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a Hindu symbol, right? But you can't just say, oh, yeah, let's just forget all about that and then start using it everywhere. Or it'd be like in Germany, people say, well, I really like the name Adolf. I know it's got an association, but I'm going to call my kid that because it sounds nice. It's like, you can't ignore the association. And so even if people aren't breaking bread and you're not even involved in that group, just a simple misunderstanding that it can lead to, I think it is dangerous. And so that's also why I wouldn't. I mean, there's some forms of socialism, as I described, pretty close to my own politics and probably pretty close to your own. But I think
possibly,
it makes no sense to.
Like right now, I think this core story, I think has been a really good dividing line. I think people are waking up to it. The issue is we keep running into this thing. Like I just started pieces together actually like 2 days ago. Why is there so much infighting on the left? And I've like developed other words for this, but now I realize what's going on. Why is there so much infighting on the left? What's up with the circular firing squads? It's not infighting on the left. It's just a firing squad because the leftists, the socialist communists, are not part of the democratic movement. It's not a circular firing squad where everybody's like doing the infighting. It's all the fighting is coming from one group of people who are trying to destroy the other group of people. Like leftists have zero desire, the big ones have zero desire to integrate liberals or Democrats into their movement. They want to destroy the democratic movement and then replace it with a revolutionary one. And the Democrats or liberals are trying to like accommodate the socialist communist types, and like you're accommodating a group of people who just want to destroy you. It doesn't make any sense. It makes about as much sense trying to appeal to a hardcore MAGA person as it would be to a communist. And that's why we have this, like if there was a separating line between these things that was better, where people could understand these people are not our friends or they're not in our same political movement, and that line was more clearly understood, then again, I think I'd be more chill with like econoboy types who are like, oh no, I think we're largely aligned. It's like, oh, okay, sure. But these people just serve as like tunnels or funnels for the more radical elements to come in. I think it's not good, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair to Hasan, I mean, even if it's really vague, he does kind of put forward some kind of policy positions, and you can tell he's in my eyes, he's a communist. He's not a socialist, and is this, as you called him, a socialist communist. And so I think we can differentiate among people who are generally under this very vague umbrella of socialism, who to include and not to include in terms of their policy, in terms of as you emphasize, the democratic side of this. They're basically, and they're, I think quite naively, pushing for dictatorship. And I don't think they know, they believe it will be different this time.
Yeah.
They're the ones who say, oh yeah, communism, we can't judge communism based on the Soviet Union or North Korea.
Or Vietnam,
because it just didn't kind of work out that time, but it will do this time.
You can even see the writing on the wall with that, though, because they play subtle rewriting games, right? They're like, oh, no, like the Soviet Union, that wasn't real socialism. But also the Holodomor was an unavoidable accident, and all of these, crimes that happened in the environments actually didn't happen. It was over-exaggerated by capitalists, and all of these, satellite states. Like, you can see the racism. Now, it's hard to tell if it's because he's Turkish or because he's socialist that Hasan has for Eastern Europeans. If you've ever listened to this guy talk about Poles, holy shit. And that racism and that hatred just comes from a Soviet state, because he hates these states because they were ex-satellites that he feels like are betraying the Soviet Union. So they play this game simultaneously where they'll defend the fuck out of a thing and then also say the thing isn't the thing that they were just defending. And And you got.
I mean, to be fair, I spent many months in Turkey, and generally it's a country I absolutely love. And one of the reasons I love it is because of the diversity of the country, the cult in terms of foods and music and peoples. And I've had also a diversity of thoughts there. But there are certainly some pretty paranoid, I would quite right-wing nationalistic thinking in Turkey that actually reminded me a little bit of nationalistic thinking in Britain, because both countries are countries that formerly had an empire who have never really got over the fact that they're no longer big countries in that sense. So that kind of sentiment does exist in this kind of old empire thinking, which Hasan probably hates to be associated with. And I'm not going to argue for what his genuine motivations are. But so just to be fair to Turkey, there's also a lot of people with really good politics and very open-minded, and it's a very large country with a very diverse populace. But it's quite easy anyway. Going back to the policy thing, I don't think it's good to judge someone if they call themselves a socialist on its own. I think you have to look at the policies they're pushing forward to, and I think. Who was it? Someone was labeling, like, I think Hutch was doing this as well, like looking for like 3 or 4 different key tenets that you support. And one of them was like the being democratic, supporting your institutions, and recognizing the importance of institutions. And I would add in there that we're looking to evolve a system, not have a revolution, basically. Because when you look at the history of revolutions, it just can be so damaging. It generally is, and it never really comes out the way that you would expect. Even with the American Revolution, which I remember I mentioned this point
Sure.
a time before, and you brought this up. It's really a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And our systems are so good. And another key thing is the lack of positivity in our messaging politically.
Yep.
Like the things we've got to lose, the things that are great about our countries, that we should, the progress, despite all the right-wing governments and nutcases we've had in power, progresses that we've made in our societies, that we risk losing. You know, people talk about racism in our societies, and it is a problem. But you want to go to Iran and ask how it is to be an Afghani in Iran, for example, or any other country, most other countries in this world. Like we're incredibly accepting societies. And I don't want to get competitive between Europe and America about this, but I think both regions share a lot of inclusiveness and a lot of diversity that is a positive thing as a result of our cultures and our systems. And we should feel a little bit proud about that.
Yeah, I agree.
Protective about that.
Wait, hold on, real quick. Finish your sentence and build off of.
No, I just said we should be talking about building on this. You know, and growing on this, not just smashing everything down.
In order to do that, though, you have to, you have to be able to recognize the good things you have instead of thinking everything is shit, which I think the left is unfortunately. No, I say the left, I mean even the Democrats complain about that too much. Sorry, real quick. This Lou guy is spamming the fuck out of YouTube chat, saying we won't bring up China. What do you want to bring up about China? I don't understand. Do you think China is contradicting something that's being said here? LeMayo, they won't mention China because they know their diet republicanism liberal strategy sucks. That's why the curry lady lost. Who's the curry lady? Kamala Harris? Well, I don't even know what the comment means. Are you talking about China, the country with like 5 times the U.S. population that still trails in terms of GDP and GDP growth compared to the United States? Or are you talking about China, the country that's relied on the strongest consumer base in the world, the American consumer, for the past 30 years for their growth in manufacturing? Or are you talking about China, the country whose biggest like growth in tech have come from places protected from them, like Taiwan that produces all their microprocessors? Or are you talking about the China that relies on intellectual property they steal from American companies where everybody in the world goes to study? Are you talking about China, the country that sends its best and brightest students to American universities to study? Which China are you talking about? I don't understand what the fuck you think China does here that is somehow standing in opposition to any of the things that I just said. But okay, sorry, what were you saying? Go ahead.
I mean, I personally would want to live in a country in which, depending on how I'm seen, I might be sterilized and put in some kind of crazy camps, as China has. I mean, to live in a country with that threat, I don't care how much even material wealth I had, even if they became more materially wealthy per capita,
sure.
Which they aren't right now. It's also about, I mean, this is what people mean by freedom, right? This not feeling under threat for who you are, in some benign aspect of who you are, in terms of maybe it's the God you worship or such like, but that individual freedom. If that's under threat, I don't know how people can genuinely be happy. And China, in the current Chinese system, that's just never going to be achievable. I wouldn't say that the worst dictatorship system in the world, but that doesn't make it right or good or something that we should seek. Mm-hmm. And I think people also don't differentiate between that. They go, well, you know, everything's bad or all politics is bad. There's a spectrum there. And so, yeah, you can put China, say, oh, it's better than North Korea. And you know, but a lot of the good things about China is because they have let, like, for example, big parts of their economy become freer. Yeah. And so that's a lot of where their strength has come from, not to mention, as you point out, a lot of things that have been stolen. But and to be fair, there are some things about the Chinese system that aren't too bad. And also about planning permission, which is something that you've emphasized about before in terms of housing. I don't entirely agree with you that planning is the big thing that would improve house building and such like, but that's another topic. But that's one thing in which, of course, the Chinese system, because of the being a dictatorship, they can get things through quicker. We could learn to improve our system though in that regards and easily compete.
Sure. Apparently, I need to read it someday. I'll do this. Apparently, Tokyo, Japan has figured out like housing like better than any other country on the planet, or it might be the only country besides China, I guess, that's figured out housing in like a freer way. So I don't know. Someday I'll read about that.
I picked up on one of your streams the other day that you were talking about, well, why can't we just build really tall tower blocks? I mean, there is an issue of like light getting to the ground, and of course, we've got a big building in front of lots of other buildings. Then you're going to just take a lot of natural light away from there. So, I think there is an optimal height for the area of a city. So I think it is good to kind of legislate stuff like that.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait, say that last thing again. Hold on. What did you just say?
I think it is good to legislate on like the height of buildings in cities and not just let rip. That doesn't mean everything should be just like suburban sprawl, but like if it's like 5 or 6 stories for a lot of cities, that's kind of an optimal height.
Get this guy the fuck out of here. Wait, where is it like that in Germany? I feel like I saw high rises in a lot of cities that I was in, but maybe I'm only in like the downtown areas, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I live in a building that's like 4 or 5 stories high, and there's this kind of crazy building binge in Germany just before the First World War. And so if you go through Germany, a good chunk of the buildings were just built like in the first 15 years of the last century. And they're all kind of like 5 stories high. They're called Altbau, which means old buildings. But they're all from this time. And they're kind of an optimal height for a lot of cities. So. But it's not suburban sprawl. I mean, we have probably about 40 adults in this building. So, in terms of population density, you can still quadruple the density compared to suburban sprawl with buildings this height. So, there's kind of a balance between the two. But yeah, I'm sure our systems can improve in the ways that maybe China's got an advantage on us. But the good things, I can see people just not appreciating them, and that's the way they get lost. Especially with our rights and our freedoms, and what that means to us, and the ability to be who we are and who we want to be. That's something we should respect a hell of a lot more, especially in Europe where we had, the threat of fascism. I think, and that could be part of a really positive message. I think that's what we all need to learn on the left.
Okay.
Another thing is Case from the writing team wants to come on and talk about the Pragmatic Papers and what's been in the Pragmatic Papers. So I'm going to start writing again now that I'm back myself.
Okay. Cool.
If he can jump on, then I'll pass it on to him. I don't know if he's waiting, but
wait, is that guy Morgan?
Yeah. I just know him as Case. Maybe it's Case Morgan or Morgan Case.
Is that so? Wait, is it Case Morgan or Morgan Case, or is that like a random guy in Stream Discords? Who are you, Morgan Third? Who are you?
Okay, probably is him then. Yeah.
Hello.
Who are you? What do you want?
I might have to read that here.
How? It's 2025. What? How can your microphone sound like this? What? Figure it out. Hello?
I think he's scared.
Mic check.
Oh, hey, wow. Oh, you picked it up off the floor from beneath your blankets? Your blanket fort?
Default is the wrong one.
Oh, okay. Well, what's up? Wait, who are you? Are you a writer guy? Or
Long-time viewer. I just had a disagreement about the tit-for-tat stuff.
Oh, okay, go fast. What is it?
It's basically that, like, we don't have the same win conditions as like a lot of the people on the right. We need a little bit more trust in institutions to enact the will that we want.
I disagree.
So,
I think that the right gets to The right plays a game where they say they don't have the same win conditions, but they do. And I would point to things like Ozempic for that. The right will say things like, we don't trust pharmaceuticals, but you better fucking believe that that fucker RFK Jr. is TRT'd out the fucking ass. You better fucking believe all these motherfuckers are on Ozempic and their insulin and all that shit. They say that they don't appreciate it, but they get to say that while simultaneously enjoying all the benefits of it. I think that once society starts to crumble a little bit in these ways, I think that they'll go back to, actually, wait, maybe our cheaper iPhones were actually a nice thing, I think.
You don't think that that's like a part of their calculus for their messaging? Kind of like the break down the government, like, you know.
It is, but it only works while the government is still functioning. God, I'm sure there's like a good analogy somewhere here. Like you know, like the frog and the scorpion? Mm-hmm. Conservatives are like the scorpion if the scorpion's stinger didn't have any poison in it, where they're like, oh, I'm going to sink this shit over and over again, and they keep poking it, but they actually kind of need the frog to swim, and they actually don't want to drown and die. Like, it's like that.
Yeah, they take on some water, you think they'll change course?
I think at some point, yeah. Like for instance, you see Trump do it with the treasury yield inversions. You see it happen with when shit is like actually getting fucked. In some ways, people will be like, okay, fuck, maybe we need to come back a little bit. I think that if it gets bad enough, I think conservatives will. At some point, you can't ignore reality. You know, like the tariff shit, as it starts to kick in more, I think a lot of conservatives are going to be like, maybe this is not that great. Remember, it doesn't have to be half the movement. It doesn't even have to be 20% of the movement. You only need like 2 to 5% to make it electable, yeah.
And I agree that I think that they will. I mean, I don't think they're like totally delusional.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty easy to just kind of have like it's easier to say both sides are the same, and when we're really not the same. It's just like,
sure, you
might be able to eke out like a small victory with the tit for tat, but it's just perilous.
Well, but the nice thing about once we kick out. I love your reason. Once we kick out all the socialists and communists from our movement, it becomes easier to disregard that both sides are the same messaging. Both sides are the same sounds really bad when one of the sides is saying it. Both sides are the same is much more expected when it's a person who's not part of either team. And socialists and communists are not part of our team. So when they're out there saying, oh, both these motherfuckers are the same, yeah, of course we're, because we're not you, right? That makes more sense. So I think that the quicker we kick those people out, I think Taylor's article hopefully is helping with this now.
Yeah. I was thinking of like the more like the truly like normie, like, oh, I don't know, fuck all of them, like not tanky types.
Like just kind of like hopeless Democrats or whatever who are like, oh, everything's fucked or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes back to what Reason was saying, is that we need to just be more positive in our messaging, I think.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
pretty much it. All right, well, that was the main point. I'm
going to try and get Case into the disagreements channel so you can pull him in.
Okay.
I think he should be listening. So.
Okay. What do you want, Blank? Who are you?
Hi, I'm here to tell you to add the cinema emote on YouTube chat. Okay, add some new emotes.
French fuck, disgusting. Whoever the YouTube mods are, we literally have a chat. If you guys ping me in the in our Discord, if you're a YouTube mod, if you ping me new emotes and shit, I can always add them. Whoever has any, yeah. Learn accents, bro. That was clearly Italian. What? It sounds like the same shit, okay, right?
Apparently, Case is in the stream disagreements, so you should be able to pull him in now.
Chase?
Oh yeah, there. Case, sorry. Case.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Nice one. Way to go. Hold on. All right, what do you want?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nice. Hello, everybody. What's up, guys? Holy shit. I'm here for Pragmatic Papers 25. It's truly incredible this time, genuinely.
Okay.
A single tear rolled down my leg when I read it. Made me cry. The very first one, Blakely B, who's an email contributor, wrote
an email
article.
Contributor.
Yes, they emailed Great Whiter. Isn't that insane? You can just email this guy, and we'll just publish your shit, just like that. So if anybody wants to submit, go ahead and send Whiter an email. Send him a DM on Reddit.
But this is the Disney Channel show that where the guy is like a mermaid. Did you ever watch this cartoon?
What? No, I did
Or
not.
it's not a cartoon. I'm sorry. It was a Disney Channel show. Don't worry. You sound like you're like 24, so you probably never heard even the Disney Channel. All right. Sorry.
I have no
Go
idea
ahead.
what you're talking. Wait, hold on.
What?
I watched Disney Channel growing up. Okay, don't accuse me of that slander.
Okay.
All right, I love Disney. Anyway,
Go ahead. Sorry.
back
Pragmatic
to the
Favorites
important
25.
shit.
This was the meme that you guys
Yeah,
have
come
at the start. You have like the kid. I'm pretty sure this is like. I feel like the name of the show is like My Life as a Teenage Mermaid or something stupid like that.
holy shit, I do know this show. I didn't watch it, but I saw the advertisements for it.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't know that was from.
Go
I
ahead.
thought it was just a
What's
kid with grayscale.
Jesus.
But yeah, Jesus.
Oh, the
But yeah,
13th
Blakely wrote an article called "From Inevitability to Eternity." It is about a historian, Timothy Snyder, his, I guess, political theory on politics of eternity and inevitability. You can read the article to see more of what that's about, but inevitability is apparently about politics having kind of like a straight sort of path that leads to progress. So anything we do just inevitably will lead to more democracy, more whatever. And the other one is politics of eternity. This is the idea that everything's a cycle. The enemies are always going to keep coming back. Snyder attributes this to like Russia and more Eastern stuff or like fear mongering. The article explains it way better than me. I personally didn't get it that much, but it was a really good article.
How is it good if you didn't get it? What the fuck?
Bro, I could parse the language and I could understand. You know when you read like a really complex book for the first time, you're like, what the fuck does this shit mean? But you kind of get the vibes. That's what was happening with me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Our next one is by Jay Chow Live. I believe this guy is a pragmatic liberal. I think is what he called himself.
Wait, can I make a suggestion on this real quick? Fuck.
Go ahead.
You guys should have bylines, I feel like, on the front page.
I agree. There's lots of things that we need to improve upon.
Ooh, I heard Kafka didn't want to put bylines because he likes it when everybody assumes that the articles are all written by him. So he like keeps it this way. But sorry, okay, go ahead. No, what's
It's
the name
actually
of it?
disgusting.
Yeah.
You should
Next
see
one.
him in the meetings. He's a hardcore manipulator. Jay Chow Live wrote a critique on abundance. There's a book by Ezra Klein. Guys. He's specifically critiquing the narrative that Democrats lost the working class votes. Not necessarily about any of the facts, just that this particular narrative is wrong. If you want to read more about that, he's got his article. I think he also went into detail about it. Somebody asked him a question on the Pragmatic Papers post on the Reddit. So if you want an elaboration, go to his comment. He wrote like a couple paragraphs. It was really good. He also has a Substack where he wrote a follow-up article. Or maybe it was the one before. Who knows?
Okay.
But yeah. And then we have mine, obviously the best one, the Russia AI disinformation machine. I thought a lot about what we talked about last time. I don't know if you remember. We talked about Russia basically being like a primo enemy of the United States. And you disagreed with this.
Okay.
Okay. My question to you is that when I asked you directly, like what is worse than Russia right now, you said that China is doing a lot of insidious stuff and like some insidious stuff with the leftist Palestine movement.
Did I say that?
Elaborate. Yes, you did.
Wait,
that
did
was
I
in direct
really?
response. Yep, that was in direct response to my question.
I feel like I thought that most of the funding for that stuff comes from Qatar.
I genuinely have no idea. I haven't gotten to Qatari money yet. But from what I know about Qatar, a lot of their cyber infrastructure is funded by, is it Kaspersky? It's one of these Russian tech companies where they go in and they give them all the tech for it, all the tech for counter surveillance. That's where they get their funding from. Or their cyber.
I would have to go back and look. I wonder why I said that or what the context was. Because my understanding is that like China is kind of this like cringe guy that's like, he's grown a lot through Eurasia and then kind of like in Africa, and he like wants to be involved in the Middle East, but I think China was really desperate to try to settle some peace negotiation between like Iran and Saudi Arabia several years ago when they were starting to hit each other more, and like China wants to be involved, but they're having like trouble getting a foothold in the Middle East because it's so entrenched with Russia, U.S. and then the internal Middle Eastern politics is my understanding of it. So I wonder why I said China. I'm not sure.
As far as I know, China, like you said, doesn't really have a foothold. Russia's already been like,
even for like the Syrian civil war, like Russia was the main helper for Assad there, but China would send like some people along and it was like, look, we're helping, like let us in too. Yeah, they're trying to get a hold on soft power, but it seems like Russia is just like, as far as I can see, Russia's completely dominating any sort of like cyber infrastructure, cyber attack. All of that is dominated by Russia. They're the ones who are putting like, I think they signed an agreement with the South African, is it like Global Union? I forget the name now. It's in my article. But they signed an agreement, like basically implanting a foothold in Africa and in the Middle East. Their explicit goal is to set up cyber infrastructure in these areas under the guise of like
cybersecurity from the West, like protecting them from the West,
Okay.
and then installing backdoors, kind of like how they did in my opinion, in 2016. I've been reading the Mueller indictment. I read both indictments.
Yeah.
I read both indictments. I'm reading the Manafort report right now. This shit is 400 pages, so I'm chucking through it. But it seems like the playbook is the exact same. You just go into a country, you start spreading division and misinformation. You set up your infrastructure there, and then you just keep it going. The problem is, as far as I know, in the U.S., they got caught because they were doing too much with the hacking and dumping, with the WikiLeaks and all this stuff. I know that you had a debate with this dude on the WIC panel, and he was arguing about against the idea that Russia colluded with Trump, with the Trump organization.
Was he a conservative? Was it like Lactoid or somebody, or?
I forget his name. I don't even know if he was conservative. I don't think he said it explicitly.
Okay.
It was the last guy that you talked with, like in the original 4 debates or whatever.
You mean the one just like a couple days ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sure. Yeah, one of the big issues is because the Russia, because that stuff became so political, conservatives have basically just shut their brains off when it comes to anything having to do with foreign propaganda. And in a weird way, conservatives were kind of like the antibodies for Soviet related, I shouldn't say Soviet, I'm sorry, my mom just took over there, for like Russia or China related foreign intrusion stuff. Like, I feel like the conservatives were a little bit more hawkish and conspiratorial on that, but since the Russia stuff happened with Trump, they've completely just destroyed their ability to ever analyze that. There was that part where I was watching Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz argue with each other about foreign interference in the United States, and listening to them both try to like naming off countries without ever bringing up Russia for like the first like 5 minutes of that combo was hilarious to me. I was like, oh my God, you guys are both, and because Tucker can't bring it up because he's literally a fucking, Moscow mascot now, and then Ted Cruz can't bring it up because of the Russiagate narrative, so the conservatives won't touch it, and it's like, this is actually you guys are delusional. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yep. Cruz is such a stupid fucking cuck, bro. Like this guy, he was
don't say that anymore. We don't say that anymore. He's not stupid.
Oh.
They're evil. He's a smart guy.
These
are evil. Yeah, they're evil people. Yes.
He knew from what I've been gathering so far. These people. Oh, by the way, you told the guy that Guccifer 2.0 was a single Russian hacker that was working with Roger Stone. This isn't true. Guccifer.
I don't know. It was a hacker, an individual guy. It might have been a group or a unit or whatever of like Russia. Yeah, sure.
It was 13 different people. They made the Guccifer persona to like basically avoid
information and to avoid being tied directly to Russia, right?
Yeah, it wasn't to disseminate information. They used DC leaks for that. It was after the DC leaks shit got exposed that they, I think it was the DNC that announced that they had gotten hacked. The very next day, they made Guccifer, and Guccifer was claimed to be a lone Romanian hacker. Whether or not Roger Stone knew about this, I have no idea. But whatever. The point is, Cruz saw that they were targeting him specifically. These people were going through the Podesta emails, like keyword searching for Cruz, specifically saying that they want to slander Cruz so Trump can win. And this guy's still bending over, like getting fucked by them.
Well, I mean, he literally, didn't he say his dad was the Zodiac killer? Or did I make that up? And that his wife was ugly? I think... I'm pretty sure this happened. Oh my God, I had another fucking brain break moment 2 nights ago because I started looking stuff up off stream because I was refreshing my memory. Dude, I don't know if you follow this. Wait, how long have you watched my stream for?
I've been watching since the Raj Royale days.
I did this whole circuit, and it's so bad. From 2016. So when Trump got elected, I was like the crying liberal almost, not as bad as the blue-haired ones because I wasn't blue-haired yet, but I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna be horrible. And then I spent some time saying like, wow, this is like 50% horrible, not good. And then I got convinced at the end of 2020 that like, okay, fuck, maybe there is a little bit of like harsh judging on Trump and not necessarily full Trump derangement, but like I said it was like 50% bad. It was like maybe it's like 20% bad. It's not as bad as I thought. And then I actually think it started with Pisco, pushing me on the Jan 6 stuff, where Pisco was like, oh no, I think Trump should have done more or whatever. And then digging through the Jan 6 stuff, when I was like, wait a second. And then when I start to revisit everything in Trump's history, I'm like, wait, this wasn't 50% and I was deranged. This was like 90% fucking horrible the whole time. One of the things that I realized that conservatives done such a good job hand waving, are you familiar with that Trump Tower meeting?
The one about the one in Moscow?
No, the one in the United States where they had the Russian lawyer lady came in. And
Yeah, I'm aware of this. Where he talked to
Yeah,
Manafort,
what the
DJT.
fuck?
Yeah, he talked to.
They said they lied. They said initially it was about like some child adoption thing. Then it came out as like, well, no, it was something totally. And then they were like, oh, okay, well, we thought they had Oppo research, but it was like, wait, what the fuck? Why are you bringing foreign nationals into the country for opposition research? Like that's crazy. I forgot how horrible that whole situation was. Yeah, because when Republicans talk about like, oh, the Trump Tower meeting where nothing happened, it's like, no, what the fuck? You lied about the whole purpose of that meeting with a foreign Russian national. The same country that hacked the whole fucking DNC email system and leaked everything. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah.
In the Mueller report, it says specifically that when they engage in this, when they started coordinating this fucking meeting, the Russian lawyer told them specifically, hey, the Russian government has dirt on Hillary through emails, and that we're gonna give this information to you on behalf of Russia's support for Trump. They said this explicitly. Unfortunately, I'm assuming because of the fucking constant obstruction into the investigation, they weren't able to find any evidence that any information was exchanged during this meeting. But I mean, in my opinion, when I read this, like, couldn't they have? Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have just given it to him. You know what I mean? Like, how would they know?
Who couldn't have given?
The lawyer could have given the emails or compromised information to Donald Trump Jr. and Manafort. And
wait, they might have, but we would never know because they obstructed, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. So much.
It's so annoying because, like, I always say for people, like, listen, if you're gonna have a conspiracy theory, like, and I'll be honest when I'm saying like there's a conspiracy here, you have to have reasons to explain parts of the conspiracy. So, like, for the well, I'm already. There are like some things. There's like, okay, if you have a conspiracy, there's a lot of shit you have to explain. With the Russia-Trump colluding stuff, it is explainable, right? Like, okay, well, you're going to have to explain, like, how did they avoid this? Well, I can tell you how. People like Roger Stone literally said, I'm never going to, snitch on Trump. And then they're going to lie and they're going to obstruct and they're going to bully other witnesses to do it. He got convicted of all these things and then they're going to get pardoned, right? Or that people are going to go out of their way, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, over and over and over again to try to, and they did. Like, this is all like super out in the open. It's not even like, it's like a conspiracy in that they did make this plot and plan. Yeah, but they don't hide any of it. Yeah, it's so annoying.
Because they know they can get away with it. And then this guy, the guy who you debated with, will come on and be like, well, wait a minute. Couldn't this all mean that Trump is just defending himself because he's innocent and he knows that it's all bullshit? It's like, bro, but why did Trump say that it was the end of his presidency when I think it was Sessions was appointed to start the investigation, or it might have been when Mueller was appointed special counsel. But he openly admitted, like, it's going to be the end of my presidency. He tried to have Sessions fire Mueller, I believe.
Yeah, and then Sessions recused himself, and that's why Trump started going so hard on Sessions. People don't remember that. It was just because Sessions wouldn't end and the only reason why Mueller, it was because Sessions wouldn't end the special counsel. And the only reason why Mueller was appointed was because Trump fired Comey after Comey wouldn't end the investigation. It's crazy. Yep. Yeah.
What's insane to me, what's scary to me is that when I read this like report, you can see like the institution, like it's fighting back against Trump. You know what I mean? Like these people are actively, like, it's really crazy to read that like these people, they gave Trump the information on the hacking right after he was elected. And it's like, they gave it to him thinking like, oh, he's the president.
Yeah, he'll do the right thing.
Something about this.
Dude, exactly. One of the things I joke about so much is that, like, when you look at Trump, like, we all thought that Trump's first term was like the worst thing ever when it was. But like, if you look at the cabinet that Trump had in his first term compared to the absolute subhuman treasonous cocksucks that orbit him now, it's literally like a fucking all-star cast of people, right? When you think of like fucking like Rex Tillerson and Pompeo versus whatever the fuck like Rubio has turned into, has morphed into. When you look at Stephen, is it Mnuchin versus fucking like fucking Lutnick and oh god, Lutnick and the other guy who Besson or whatever now. Like these guys, like it's the first terms. Like cabinet was so much better than the insanity that we have now. And then even looking at people, when you look at like the J6 testimonies, like Barr was like, every Democrat was petrified of Barr. Like Barr is like a fucking presidential power expander, unitary executive theory guy. And even Barr left weeks before the transition. Barr was like, I can't do this. You're insane, Trump. You're crazy. And even Bill Barr abandons him. It's crazy. Yeah.
And then now he's surrounded by fucking sycophants, which is why, like, this goes into my argument that that Russia's like the most present enemy right now. Because in my opinion, if I was Russia, all of this like the election interference in 2016 worked. Like, I don't think anybody was charged, or everybody who got charged got pardoned. Maybe not everybody, but most of them did. And like now, it seems like the efforts are ramping up. When in 2016 they weren't using AI. They had specialists that would run the account and they would post on like Tumblr and all this fucking bullshit. Nowadays, you just use AI, right? Like
And
you
it's
would just
easier,
use
yeah.
AI to automate it. Yeah, exactly. And it's this that like scares me because
Well,
they
I would say-
control the zeitgeist.
I would say even
Yeah?
before. I would say like the AI stuff is scary. I would say even before it was scarier because when you read through, because I imagine kind of the meme joke of like, oh, what does Russian propaganda in the United States look like? It looks like, oh, Texas is an important state in the U.S. because we have warm water ports. Welcome to Texas, all black. And it's like, so retarded. But you said yourself, you're
hell
reading those
no.
indictments. When you're going through the indictments and they're like, black people don't support Hillary because the Democrats have always turned their back on black people because of the 90th, blah, blah, and it's like, oh shit, they have like some, like in America,
It's
how
highly
these motherfuckers,
sophisticated.
yeah, it's very sophisticated. They have a really good understanding of the things that divide us, and then to watch conservatives all play into it over and over and over again, and then deny its existence after all of it's come out, and I'm like, bro, really? And it's also super
that's
crazy.
the scary part.
I don't know if you can appreciate this, but coming from a family where my mom was Cuban, okay, hates socialists, where both my parents were in the Air Force. My mom flew the Looking Glass mission, okay, so like constantly looking for nuclear weapons because of the end of the fucking
Jesus.
world. My dad worked on the SR-71 as an electronics maintenance guy, so the fucking spy planes. My parents were the number one Chi-Com, Red China, Soviet haters in the universe, and to see them not give a fuck about the Soviets, I'm sorry, I need to stop saying that, to not give a fuck about Russia or China anymore, and to be like, oh, it's whatever, Stevie, like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. The Democrats just want to divide. It's like, Mom, is this the same mom that was like crying when Elian Gonzalez got sent back to Cuba? Is this the same mom that was crying saying that Obama was being too friendly to Putin? Are you serious? I just can't believe how quickly they moved on in years. The whole Republican Party 180'd on all of these topics. It's crazy to me.
It's the social media apparatus. It's because like I don't know what it is. I don't know about your mom specifically because she's older, but I'm also Cuban. And from what I've seen with all these fucking Cuban people, the number one complaint for them, like they don't care about any of this shit. When you start talking about, which is funny because they're so traumatized by communism, you think that they wouldn't go to another authoritarian, but they do. But like, if you tell them all this bullshit, they're just gonna tell you that it's bullshit. Like, bro, what do you mean?
Sure.
Bro, you're talking way too fast. You're way too crazy. Don't tell me you actually care about this politics shit. Like, bro, just literally answer the question. Answer the question. Do you think that trans people should be going to the male bathroom? It's like, bro, like,
Yeah.
why do you give a fuck about this? How many trans people?
When was
do
the
you
last
even
trans
know?
person you saw on Hialeah, bro? Yeah, like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh my god, it's so cringe. Like, are we doing genital? It's so cringe. Yeah, it's so cringe.
Yep.
The fact that these it's a stronger reason, I guess, for that Newsom finally picked up on, and I guess I complained about it too. Is like you got to give these edge cases and just like disavow them immediately so you can move on to the important stuff. Because the fact that like I genuinely believe, actually, and it goes back to what I was just saying an hour ago, that like the internet is real life in the real world. And I think Democrats keep learning this over and over again, like, oh, kitchen table issues matter, blah, blah. Bro, social issues are also very, very, very motivating for people. And you got to be really careful when it comes to the social issues. Unless your economy's fucked, like inflation shit or whatever maybe is like getting out of control, like people will absolutely vote on wokeness. Like, look at how many people have I debated? The lawyer guy, the Ryan guy, who seems, for all intents and purposes, like a pretty smart guy. We go through thing after thing after thing after thing. He's like, yeah, Trump is horrible here. Yeah, he's an authoritarian. Yeah, he's a... Would you have voted for Kamala? No, I'm worried that affirmative action would ruin my kids' lives. Like, motherfucker, you're a lawyer that just got back from a European vacation. You think your kids' lives are going to be ruined by affirmative action? What?
Yeah, it's because they live in a completely different like ecosystem, and like in my opinion, they're just constantly getting fed fucking AI disinformation slop. These same dipshits get all their information from fucking TikTok. I remember I had a debate with one of my friends over the Trump like posting like the kink stuff. And that like he told me, God, I'll never forget this. He was like, bro, come on, like, why are you pushing me so hard? I've read many documents on
Oh my
this.
God.
Like, bro,
meaning he's watched Tim Pool or Joe Rogan bring up a picture of a doc. That's what they mean when they say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just lie through their teeth. And like the shitty thing is like, why not just get informed? Like when these people LARP that they're like, oh, I'm so well read. Trust me, my opinions come from like a really solid foundation. Motherfucker, we know that you haven't read shit. We know that you can't read. You know what I mean? Like I'm aware that you're not able to read. Like, you know what I mean? Like just try. You know what I mean? Like,
and
just
this is
go
why
and read
the slight silver lining in the clouds, maybe, hopefully, possibly the slight silver lining. I will say, okay, I have turned a bit. The AI shit is pretty fucking funny and pretty based. And I had it happen in my first debate like a week or two ago where that guy tried to ask ChatGPT in the middle of the debate to see who was right on a thing. And it totally fucking disagreed with him. And watching the conservatives like smash their head against Grok over and over again online is really fucking funny. Who knows? Maybe AI is the next stage of human evolution and that will be the thing that saves some of these people and it's like it's through such a crazy roundabout set of circumstances too, because I truly believe the only reason why conservatives trust AI is because Donald Trump lent so much political credence to fucking Elon Musk. That's the only reason why they trust any of the AI shit right now. Yeah.
If not, it would be woke, and like because it's telling you a bunch of woke shit. So why would you ever believe it? It's just fucking weird. Like I don't even understand why people still like Elon Musk. As far as I've seen, his popularity's died completely down.
I don't think they like him that much. I don't think they ever liked him that much. It was all on loan from Trump, and then now that he's out of the Trump shit, I think people are moving away from that.
Political capital is completely dead. But yeah, like, and it's stuff like X where, in my opinion, Elon is allowing all the, like, basically most of this disinformation to happen. All the other companies are doing it too, like Facebook and I guess YouTube to a certain extent. Like, these people are pretty lax when it comes to like political disinformation. But obviously X just allows it in spades. And it's like this type of stuff that like makes me worry. It's really fucking weird when I hate bringing them up, but when I see people like Kuiman or Jessica or whatever, and they're talking about how like Taylor Lorenz's article is actually super good, and it's like, bro, like, I'm not saying that they're being influenced by Russia, obviously, but it's just fucking weird how all of these positions always somehow end up in like the Russian favorable point of view. Like either like no matter what way, like what lane we take, we always end up at like America bad, the system is doomed. You know what I mean? Like who gives a fuck? That shit is really scary to me, and I don't like it because I think people are so easily manipulated. Like, people just don't give a fuck anymore. If you tell people, like, you know, TikTok's like giving propaganda, right? They'll just be like, yeah, I know. It's like, okay, are you gonna stop using it? Nah. Like, do you believe the stuff that's on it? Yeah. It's like, bro, what the fuck? Oh my god, when my little sister was watching Love Island, and she was like, oh my god, yeah, I like this one guy, but it turns out that he was a Zionist. I'm like, bro,
oh my God.
What the Zionist? I was like, do you even know what a Zionist is?
Or seeing Ian iDubbbz or whatever the other day, where he's like, yeah, we listened to a little bit of Radiohead, but then I realized they were Zionist coded or whatever.
Oh my God.
And it's like,
it's too much. It's simply too much. And like the Israel-Palestine specifically, I brought up the idea of it being astroturfed. And I remember you said like, oh no, well, some people genuinely believe it, like Hasan, right? Because he torched the Leftovers show over Israel-Palestine. Like, who would ever do that? And it's like, yeah, I believe that Hasan definitely like believes in the movement or whatever. But I think most people just like kind of passively support. I wouldn't say support Hamas. That's a little unfair. But they're more on the side of Palestine just because they're constantly bombarded with like AI slop, like disinformation. Which I'm like, I haven't gotten into it yet because I'm still doing 2016 like Russia stuff, like which is like kind of like the origin of their information warfare. But to me, it would probably be like Iran or some Middle Eastern country with a semi like sophisticated bot network. Helping push this narrative, because I think people would have burnt out on Israel-Palestine a long time ago.
Yeah, people
like constant. Yeah,
it's annoying. People very much like underestimate how much being in a certain information environment can like slowly morph and change your thoughts. It's just so important to constantly put something in front of somebody's face. It will change your mind on a thing over time. And people just aren't aware of how powerful it is being around stuff. Even though we have so much great research showing, like even things like if you want to make something like not racist, like the best thing to do is you just put them in an environment with like a bunch of people that look different, you know, and have them all like interact, assuming they're not all killing them or whatever, right? Like, and there's like so many examples of how your environment can just shape you so radically, and people just think that they're above it or think they don't have to pay attention to it. But although I blame that on people like Joe Rogan and the current podcasters, because these guys always put themselves above partisanship. And so people can kind of trick themselves into thinking that like, oh, I don't have to worry about being, captured by propaganda because I listen to objective thinkers like Joe Rogan. I listen to centrists like Constantine and the other guy. Or like, I don't have to worry about, like Tim Pool is a guy who's not politically partisan, and it's like, okay.
And Tim Pool is being paid directly by Russia. Like this is the exact shit that I'm talking about.
Well, indirectly, but I know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Indirectly. Yes, he likely didn't know. That is true. I'm guessing they didn't know.
Well, no, he knew. He knew. He absolutely knew. He absolutely fucking knew that.
I haven't looked into it yet, but from the way it's set up, it seems to me like they should have been aware what was going on.
He was aware because of the dollar amounts. He got paid $400,000 a month for a non-exclusive deal to have a show uploaded on a channel that was getting like 600 views per episode from him. He absolutely knew.
Yep. And oh my God, it's because he benefits from it. So why would you do anything? It's the same thing with what I think is happening or happened with Trump in 2016. Like, I do think that they colluded directly with Russia, but I don't think they reached out. I'm guessing that Russia reached out to them and they just took the opportunity. He didn't like talk to any Russian officials directly, maybe, but he definitely knew that like Papadopoulos was meeting with fucking the Russian ambassador or whatever. Or when like Michael Flynn they put sanctions on Russia. I think Obama put sanctions on Russia for the election interference, and Michael Flynn called. I forgot who it was. It was some official. It might have been the finance minister.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, don't retaliate. The very
Well,
next day,
yeah.
Putin announces that he's not going to retaliate. And then Flynn gets a message that tells him, hey, it's because of you. Since you texted us, Putin didn't do anything. You're
And
welcome.
then I was going to say, based on my last debate, like, what could I possibly show a conservative as evidence of this happening that they believe? And it's funny because with that one guy, you know, I was debating him and the guy was like, well, he would have to say something like for the Gen 6 stuff. Well, go march here and do a riot and be treasonous. And I was just thinking for the Russia stuff, what would I have to actually show you? Like, would Trump have to literally go on fucking TV and tell Russia to like release 30,000 emails from Hillary Clinton? It's like, oh shit, wait, he did that. But then they'll just say it was a joke. That was a joke. It's not even serious. And it's like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, the one statement that Biden made about how, like, yeah, we got rid of this fucking Shokan guy, this bad prosecutor dude, whatever, people are like, that's evidence of a huge collusion conspiracy. Like, wait, what the? Why was nobody talking about this at the time then? Why did nobody seem to give a fuck at the time that they, like, this was all part of like what was supposed to be happening? Yeah, it's just cringe.
Yep. Or when Giuliani's messaging that, I think it was a Ukrainian lawyer or ambassador or whatever to to announce the investigation to Hunter Biden.
Oh,
like, these things are like,
no, bro. If you want to actually commit suicide, that wasn't a message. That's a 47-minute voicemail that's online. You can listen to that. And I think 3 different times in that voicemail, Giuliani asks, I think it's supposed to be, I think, an aide to Zelensky. He's saying, like, we just need you guys. Can you guys go ahead and please announce a public investigation into Hunter Biden? They had nothing. They just wanted them to announce that. And keep in mind, remember, this whole time, Americans don't know the structure of the government or anything. They don't understand the big deal of this. Giuliani is not a member of the government. That was just Trump's personal dick suck, personal fucking lawyer friend. He was not like an official, like, ambassador or whatever. That was just Trump's friend making these unbelievably important phone calls and inappropriate phone calls. Yeah, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's fucking annoying how, and nobody gives a fuck about any of this, because even if they admit that something bad happened, which they won't, they'll just say like, oh no, like, who cares? What's bad about Giuliani talking to him? What do you mean? Are they not allowed to communicate? Like, they're two private people, right? Like, they're not gonna admit it. But even if they do, it's just like, yeah, so like, oh my god, whatever. I get so triggered at this. It's actually so fucking aggravating. But the fact that Trump can just shed all this negativity, just by having one layer of separation, like, oh, that guy who was like my closest friend or whatever, like, I mean, obviously he was acting completely independent of me. I didn't know him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he did all that stuff, it was completely out of my sphere of influence. It's like, bro, this is your lawyer. This is your fucking, God, I forgot what Michael Flynn was to him, what secretary, or if he was still operating as general. But whatever, like, he knows these people directly. They're talking to him all the time, and it's so easy for him to just cast them off. He's like, yeah, whatever. He did the same thing with Elon, where he's like, yeah, bye. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you fucked up with the Doge stuff. Like, that's it. Goodbye. And everybody blames Elon. Nobody cares about Trump. Nobody cares that Trump appointed him or anything like that. It's like, oh yeah, he fucked up. Obviously, Trump would never make a mistake.
Like, can you imagine? You know, you've got like these fucking retards like Dave Smith who are like, oh, I read this book where the ex-CIA official said blah, 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 and that's his proof of that. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, Donald Trump's right-hand man, richest man in the world with access to every single part of the government, so much access that there are multiple court cases filed against him and people complaining about him accessing things, goes onto the largest social media platform that he bought and announces to the whole world, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and nobody gives a fuck. It's like
that's so crazy. People believe that. Like, if you tell the Republicans, you know, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files, right? You send the picture of Trump with Epstein, they'll be like, yeah, that's bad. What do you mean that's bad? Doesn't this imply that he's like raping children? I don't think that. Well, I don't know if he did or not. But like, if you believed it, why is this not like your number one concern? Like, why are you not dumping? Oh yeah, he rapes children. I'm not gonna vote for this guy. But like, they'll look at him and they'll be like, yeah, Trump rapes kids.
Probably
okay,
not as many as Bill Clinton and the Clinton rape machine and everything. Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just
okay.
Insane.
It's totally fine. Who cares? And like, he probably wasn't even that close to Jeffrey Epstein, so who cares? No. But you know damn well anybody else. Oh my god, if Biden had a picture with Epstein, holy shit.
Like, the thing that the Peter Miller guy said in the lab leak debate, like, I've been doing that a lot more. Like, if you flip, and I used to say this in the past, like, flip a piece of evidence or change some of the nouns around and see how people would feel. If there was a 10-minute phone call where Epstein was saying like, oh, Joe Biden was my best friend, I was the closest personal friend of Bill Clinton for 10 years, bro, that shit would be played nonstop. But or like Donald Trump falling down the stairs and then Rubio doing it afterwards to make it cute, or falling a little bit, stumbling. Yeah, but like, because it's Trump, they don't give a fuck. Nobody plays it. Nobody cares. Yeah, it's just cringe.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating, and like, yeah, I guess my overall point is just that, like, I just feel like Russia has like a huge hand in influencing this type of culture. Like their explicit goal is to foster this. It's to foster apathy towards anything that Trump does. It's flooding the zone, so you care less about whatever the fuck Trump is doing. The only thing that I haven't like pinned down is how they can spread the Ukraine stuff. Like people still think that Ukrainian donations are bad or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say
don't know
it's
how
funny
they
that I feel like the only motherfucker that didn't go to Epstein's island was fucking Hunter Biden.
Yeah, actually.
That's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, they hate Hunter Biden worse than Epstein. Well, I don't know about worse than Epstein, but yeah.
Oh no, I think they do. They do.
They talk about it more. They care about it more. There's still people like well, I don't think Pisco's like fully bought in, but the fact that Pisco will be like, yeah, it's super horrible that he pardoned Hunter Biden, like that's super terrible. It's like, bro, like why do we give a fuck about any of this? Like why? Like, can we
I
not
think
focus
that
on
I
the
wish that
horribly
Pisco is one of the only people on the planet who I think is more stubborn than I am. Which is a problem because then it's really hard for him sometimes to change course. I think that I actually can agree with Pisco if you modify the statement a little bit. I think that Biden made a huge mistake and he fucked up when he said he wouldn't pardon his son. I don't think he should have said that. I don't think the pardon was bad. I think him saying that he wouldn't pardon him was bad because I think the pardon is super understandable and absolutely like it's the convictions that guy got were just fucking criminal, huh? We're just so retarded.
I mean, he was going to be crucified in the Republican media if they just let him keep going with, or they let Trump keep going with his fucking persecution. So, I mean, I don't give a fuck. I think it's fine that he pardoned him. It doesn't matter to me at all because I just don't think Hunter Biden did anything that bad. Wasn't his only crime like not having or not registering his firearm or whatever? Something like that?
Well, so there were two crimes. So one was he did legitimately fuck up his taxes, maybe to the level of tax evasion from 2016 to 19 when he was on his like crack bender. What?
I said not tax evasion. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is I don't know how many people know this. He paid all of those off. He made a deal with the IRS. He accepted the penalties or whatever and fines, and then he paid all of it off. That was all paid off. And for some reason, the conservatives decided to retroactively go into the past and charge him also with tax evasion after all of it was paid off. Meanwhile, Roger Stone was actually engaged in tax evasion of an even greater amount of money. I think it was over $2 million, and he was like hiding assets in his wife's business, and he never got a criminal charge for that. They even took him to civil court to get that money back, which was stupid. But so that was the first thing. And then the second thing was, have you ever bought a gun before?
No, not yet.
When you buy a gun, anytime you go to a gun shop, you fill out this ATF 4473 form, and there's this ambiguous as fuck question on the form that says, are you currently a user of or addicted to narcotics, which nobody even knows what the fuck that means. But obviously everybody marks no because we put yes. You obviously you can't buy the gun, but like it includes even like marijuana, you know? So what they did was, I think Hunter Biden said in his memoirs that he bought a book at like the same time that he was also doing drugs. So like, oh, that means he lied on his 4473, which is a federal crime. In my understanding, and I have yet to be proven wrong I say proven wrong, I don't know if anybody else has ever been charged with that crime ever. I don't know if that's ever been the case. Somebody's been charged with lying on a 4473. If anybody can show me just one criminal case of this, I'd be super interested to see it. I've never seen this in my entire life. But those are the two crimes that got convicted for. It was like the biggest like fishing expedition ever. It was so cringe. Considering, remember, the thing that they were supposed to be going after him for was like the Burisma shit, you know?
Yeah. That's because that's what Republicans do. They just search and search and search for whatever the fuck they can find. They did it with the communist shit in the 50s, again with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. That was not originally a Monica Lewinsky investigation, right? They were investigating something completely different, and they stumbled across it. But like, it's fucking ridiculous. They can just dig and dig and dig, and when they find like the tiniest shit, even if it's completely irrelevant, they'll blow it the fuck up, and everybody thinks it's terrible. But if Biden like fucking hugs a fucking teenager too tightly, like, oh, he must be a pedophile. It's completely like it's fucking ridiculous. I hate the double standards. I just don't know what to like. The issue with me is I don't know how to combat this. Like the more I look into like the Russian AI farms and all this stuff, I just like I have a hard time seeing how.
The thing you have to do, what people have to do, in my opinion, obviously this favors me a lot, and it's fallen out of favor right now. I think you have to force debates more. Because in a debate, in a conversation between two adversarial positions, that's when you really see, oh shit, this guy really doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, I think that's the biggest opportunity to expose somebody is being completely full of shit, is when they start to have like adversarial conversations. But right now, I think for good reason, Republicans like avoid that like the plague.
Yep. They stopped doing town halls. Well, I know there's like this one Republican that did it earlier and he got fucking heckled again. But I remember it might have been like a couple months ago that all these Republicans are doing town halls and getting like heckled over it might have been the tariff stuff or whatever, and they just stopped doing them altogether. He was like, why would I go on stage and humiliate myself, make it seem like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, when I could just not? I could just keep spreading propaganda, and the people will believe it anyway. Because like people get mad about it, like, oh my god, he shouldn't cancel town halls, and the very next day it's normal. Like, what do you mean? It's always been like this. What are you talking about? It's a little sickening. But yeah, I agree. Like forcing debates is good, but like on a societal level, I'm just having a hard time seeing like the counters to this. Most of the shit that I read just was like, oh, you have to educate your population. Like, I'm sorry,
but
Americans are not gonna get it.
Yeah, and it won't happen because people don't know how to like research information. But this is why I'm saying that like the debate stuff is so important. It's because if people are rhetorically effective and you have a debate with somebody, like because a debate is the only time somebody's going to be exposed to information from an adversarial perspective. Otherwise, people just hunt for stuff that makes them feel good. But in a debate, when you watch it, if you have a guy that you worship and all of a sudden there's some other dude that makes him look like a dipshit, you're like, ooh, it doesn't feel good. That's like the only opportunity you have to introduce some cognitive dissonance into somebody's mind, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, but in those cases, you're not convincing the person you're debating. You're hoping to convince like auxiliary people, right? Because that person's never going to change their mind.
No, they won't. But that's okay. The auxiliary people, that's the goal. That's the audience, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, hopefully your debates can help do that, since you have a super huge reach. But
well, if as soon as people start debating again, we'll see. We're good.
we'll see. Hopefully at some point. But thanks for the chat, guys. Pragmaticpapers.com, edition 25. It's amazing. It's amazing. Read it. I'm gonna publish articles on like the Russian disinformation machine or whatever. I'm probably gonna do like a 3-parter. And I'm gonna start with the January 6th, with the fucking election interference in 2016. That'll be like my first thing, establishing like the base, the beginnings of the IRA and all that stuff. Did you know that Prigozhin was the funder for the IRA? Isn't that crazy? Holy Marvel cameo. The Wagner guy, the one who fell from a plane.
I know who he is. Yeah. When you say IRA, you mean the Irish people, right?
No. Oh no, I forgot about it.
Wait, what IRA are you talking about? Which one are you talking about?
Internet Research Agency.
That's not surprising at all then. Yeah. Okay, sure. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. I did not know Prigozhin was the funder of that, so I just I thought it was a cute
When you say
connection.
he was the funder, I mean like it's all like Russian money, government money, oligarch money, his money, right? Like,
it was his money. I mean, he was the oligarch. I don't even know back then. The report keeps saying that like, oh, he's been maybe like seen with Putin a couple times. Like they might have some connections. I mean, this guy was killed by Putin later on, right? So we know that they for sure had connections.
Yeah, but I mean, he was killed by Putin. Did you follow that story during the war or whatever? Or?
I followed it loosely. Here's what I know: that he had the Wagner troops in Ukraine. They were getting fucked over, and Russia wasn't maybe giving them resupplies or maybe reinforcements. So they decided to march to Moscow.
That's called that's a coup. He tried to coup the fucking government. So of course that motherfucker. Now to be fair, I don't think he got assassinated. I think his plane just had a mysterious mid-air explosion when he took off from someplace and died. But
happens all the time, guys.
Yeah, especially in Russia.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting that like it was him that helped fund he was basically behind the entire like 2016 interference. I mean, obviously Putin probably had a hand in it, but it was his money specifically through the Concord companies that were like funding all these people, all these specialists to like post disinformation and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go into that, and then I don't know what I'll do for the middle one, and then the last one will be like, you know, more recent 2024 interference. So check it out, guys. Okay. Pragmaticpapers.com. Edition 25. Thanks, guys.
I love everybody. Be careful.
Yippee.
Loser. Just kidding.